Have you ever tried to stop thinking about someone, but your brain keeps bringing them back? You distract yourself, you stay busy, you tell yourself to move on. But somehow, their name, their voice, their memories, or even one small moment keeps replaying in your mind again and again. And the weirdest part? Sometimes you do not even want to think about them anymore, but your brain refuses to let go. Why does this happen? Why can one person stay trapped inside your thoughts for weeks, months, or even years? And why do some people become impossible to forget? In this video, you are going to discover the real psychology behind emotional attachment, why your brain becomes obsessed with certain people, and how your mind secretly turns memories into emotional addictions. And stay until the end, because the final reason explains why the people you think about the most are sometimes connected to something much deeper than love. Let's begin. Imagine this. You are doing something normal, watching a video, walking outside, listening to music. And suddenly, something reminds you of them. A song, a place, a smell, a phrase they once said. And instantly, your mood changes. That happens because the human brain connects emotions to memories very strongly. When someone makes you feel intense emotions, happiness, excitement, comfort, pain, or even confusion, your brain marks them as important, and important memories get repeated. This is why emotionally intense people are harder to forget. Now here is where it gets interesting. Your brain does not only remember people, it remembers how they made you feel. That changes everything. Sometimes you are not attached to the person anymore. You are attached to the emotions connected to them. Maybe they made you feel understood. Maybe they made life feel exciting. Maybe they gave you attention during a lonely time. And even after they are gone, your brain keeps chasing that emotional feeling. That is why thinking about someone can feel addictive, because emotionally, your brain wants the feeling back. Now let's talk about something most people never realize. Unfinished emotions create mental loops. This is one of the biggest reasons people stay stuck thinking about someone. If a relationship ended suddenly, if things were confusing, if words were left unsaid, if you never got closure, your brain keeps searching for answers because the human mind hates unfinished stories. It wants resolution. That is why your thoughts keep replaying conversations, memories, and what-if scenarios. Your brain is trying to complete something emotionally unfinished, but sometimes there is no perfect answer, and that keeps the loop alive. Now here comes another powerful reason. Your brain is designed to repeat what feels emotionally significant. This is connected to dopamine, one of the brain's reward chemicals. When someone gives you attention, affection, validation, or emotional excitement, your brain releases dopamine. Over time, your mind starts associating that person with emotional reward. And just like any reward system, the brain starts craving it again. This is why missing someone can feel physically painful. You are not crazy. Your brain is reacting to emotional withdrawal. Now here is something even deeper. Sometimes the people we think about the most are connected to emotional needs we never fully healed. Think about it. Why do some people move on quickly while others stay emotionally attached for years? Because certain people trigger emotional gaps inside us. Validation, comfort, security, love, attention, understanding. When someone temporarily fills those emotional needs, your brain becomes strongly attached to them. And when they disappear, the emotional emptiness returns. So your mind keeps revisiting them again and again, not because you are weak, but because your brain connects them to emotional safety. Now, let's talk about overthinking. Because once emotional attachment mixes with overthinking, the cycle becomes stronger. You start analyzing everything. What did they really mean? Do they still think about me? Could things have been different? And the more you think, the stronger the emotional connection feels. Why? Because attention strengthens emotional memory. The brain treats repeated thoughts as important thoughts. So every time you replay memories, stalk social media, or imagine scenarios, you strengthen the emotional pathway in your brain. This is why obsession grows through repetition. Now, here comes one of the biggest hidden reasons people cannot stop thinking about someone. Fantasy. Sometimes your brain becomes attached not to who the person really is, but to the version of them created inside your imagination. You imagine future conversations, future relationships, future moments. And slowly, your brain builds an emotional fantasy world around them. The dangerous part? Fantasy often feels more emotionally powerful than reality. Because your mind fills missing gaps with ideal versions. This is why some people become emotionally attached to potential instead of reality. Now, let's talk about loneliness. Because loneliness makes emotional attachment much stronger. When people feel emotionally empty, isolated, stressed, or disconnected, the brain searches for emotional comfort, and often it chooses familiar people. That is why people suddenly think about exes late at night, or miss people more during hard times. The brain is searching for emotional relief, and familiar emotional memories feel safe. Now, here comes something shocking. Your brain can actually become addicted to certain emotional patterns, especially unpredictable ones. If someone gave you mixed signals, sometimes warm, sometimes distant, sometimes loving, sometimes cold, your brain becomes even more attached. Why? Because uncertainty creates stronger emotional obsession. Psychologically, unpredictable rewards create more mental fixation than consistent ones. That is why toxic relationships often become hardest to forget. The emotional inconsistency traps the brain in a cycle of hope and anxiety. Now, here is the good news. Thinking about someone does not mean you are supposed to be with them forever. This is important. Many people mistake emotional attachment for destiny. But sometimes, your brain is simply responding to emotional conditioning, memories, chemicals, loneliness, unfinished emotions, habit. And once you understand that, you stop romanticizing every thought. Now, let's talk about healing. Because the way to stop obsessively thinking about someone is not forcing yourself to forget them. That rarely works. The brain resists forced suppression. Instead, healing starts with understanding. Understanding why your brain keeps returning to them. Understanding what emotional need they represented. Understanding what part of you still feels attached. Because once awareness grows, the emotional grip slowly weakens. Now, here is something powerful you can start doing immediately. Stop feeding the loop. Every replayed memory strengthens attachment. Every emotional fantasy strengthens attachment. Every constant social media check strengthens attachment. Attention is emotional fuel. And where attention goes, emotional energy follows. The less emotional energy you feed the loop, the weaker it becomes over time. Now, here comes the final realization. The people who stay in your mind the longest are usually the ones who changed you emotionally. Not always because they were perfect, not always because they were the one, but because they triggered something deep inside you, a lesson, a wound, a desire, a fear, a version of yourself. And sometimes, the real healing is not about getting them back. It is about understanding what your mind was truly searching for through them. That changes everything. Because once you stop chasing emotional ghosts inside your head, you slowly reconnect with yourself again. Your thoughts become quieter, your emotions become clearer, and eventually, the person who once lived in your mind every second becomes just a memory instead of a mental prison. And that is the moment you finally become emotionally free.